I teach chord-based piano to accompany singing. Something I hear all the time is, I can play the song, but as soon as I start singing, my playing falls apart. Sound familiar? It's such a common issue, but it doesn't have to be that way. Today, I'm going to share 3 tips to help you play and sing at the same time without stumbling. Let's jump in. All right, so tip number 1 is to simplify the arrangement at first. Often piano parts have a rhythm or arpeggio that's applied over the top of the underlying chords. Take Simple Man by Lynyrd Skynyrd, and I do have a tutorial on that if you want to check it out. In my full arrangement, I mimic the guitar arpeggio from the recording. Mama told me when I was young. Even if you've gotten to the point where you can play that arpeggio part on its own, if the first time you try singing over these chords is with that complicated pattern, you're likely in for a bad time. In my tutorials, I try to build up the arrangements by giving you simpler options along the way. At its most basic, this song can be played by simply holding out each chord. Mama told me when I was young. And by the way, a really simple piano part doesn't inherently sound amateurish as long as you play it with a steady beat. The focus for the listener is often on the singing and the lyrics. The piano is just providing support. If you're comfortable singing with the basic version, maybe try the next level up, adding some more right hand rhythm, some left hand offbeat bass note hits. Mama told me when I was young. I don't just give these different options in my videos to accommodate beginner, intermediate, and advanced players necessarily. They're stepping stones that even advanced players can use as they work on incorporating the singing. Believe me, when I was working on the Simple Man tutorial, I did practice singing along with these easier options to get used to the flow. And then when it came time to add that arpeggio, I really needed to lean into tip number 2. Tip number 2 is extra practice on the piano part by itself. To achieve the necessary muscle memory, you need to practice the piano part solo more than you might expect. This might not seem like a time-saving hack and more like practice more, but having the right mindset can speed up the process. Let me explain. And this is the same advice I give to those struggling to coordinate their left and right hands together. Each new layer you add requires splitting your focus. Just because you can play the left hand part when you're focused on that doesn't mean it's not going to fall apart when you divert brain power over to the right. It's the same with going from a two-handed piano part to adding the layer of singing. You need to master that first layer until it's like riding a bike. Remember when you first learned to ride? There was so much to think about with the pedaling and the balancing and the steering, but at some point it just clicked and now you can bike while singing or carrying on a phone conversation. But please bike safely out there. Anyway, taking time mastering that piano part on its own can paradoxically save you time. If you try to combine your playing and singing too soon, you'll hit that discouraging wall and then you'll spend your practice time trying over and over again to push through that stumbling. And honestly, you might still get there that way, but it will take longer and you run the risk of giving up in frustration. Taking the extra time to really master the piano part will get you there infinitely faster than if you quit and don't ever get there at all. When it came to playing and singing with the arpeggio in Simple Man, once I got the piano part automatic on its own, then I used tip 3 to ease into the vocals. Real quick, if you are enjoying these tips, please give the video a like. Also, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and click the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this one. Okay, so tip number 3 might seem a little bit weird, but try it for yourself and you might be surprised. And that is hum the song while playing. Once again, this is a stepping stone. Humming your song eliminates that layer of thinking about the words, freeing up precious brain power. This allows you to get a feel for how the overall contours and rhythm of the vocal part connects with the playing. You'll know you're ready to add the words when playing and humming feels as natural as riding a bike. Okay, I have one bonus tip, or maybe it's more of just a thought. While I mentioned that I still sometimes use these tips when I'm learning new songs, the process does get quicker over time. There are only so many rhythms that commonly occur in songs. At the end of the day, the challenge of singing and playing together is essentially one of rhythmic coordination between your hands and your voice, just like with coordinating your left and your right hand together. A huge part of becoming a better musician is building a toolkit of rhythms and patterns that you've gotten into your muscle memory. Then you catch on so much quicker when they show up in new songs in different combinations. Eventually, you'll be able to jump in and play and sing most songs without needing these tips, reserving them only for the trickiest pieces. Speaking of building your toolkit, my course Piano Chord Breakthroughs is built around this idea of getting common patterns, inversions, rhythms, arpeggios into your muscle memory so you can find spontaneous freedom in your piano playing. Check out the link in the description if you're interested. I hope you found these tips helpful. Let me know in the comments what other topics you want me to cover in future videos. Have an awesome day.